That was monumentally Bristol City, a game where we didn't really look under too much threat for most of it, and we go and concede a goal out of nothing, and we draw 1-1 at Pride Park. It ends Derby 1, Bristol City 1. We'll start from the top. A couple of changes to the City lineup. Two changes that I highlighted could potentially happen. Rob Dickey comes in for George Tanner. Mark Sykes comes in for Hirakawa, goes and slots in on the right hand side. Mark Sykes, Ross McCrory goes out to the left hand side. Apart from that, it's a pretty settled team, as I mentioned in my match preview. Pretty stable. We just keep the sort of core of the team going. Derby, I thought the setup was interesting. It was different than what I expected it to be, but it was certainly interesting. Obviously, Zetterstrom and goal, back three of Sanderson, Bath, and Clark, which conceded 5 against Coventry. Yep. Callum Elder and Ryan Niambe, the wing backs. This is a back three. It's wing backs. It weren't really wing backs. Got pushed back and penned back. Derby defending quite a lot. They were the kind of wing backs slash fullbacks. Ozo and Thompson midfield. Ibu Adams a little bit sort of higher up the pitch from midfield. Sort of as a 10. Vyman and Carlton Morris up top. Obviously, Andy Vyman, formerly of Bristol City for 1. Derby started the game on top. First 10 minutes, probably the better side. There's a really good block in there by Rob Atkinson, but didn't really fashion a big chance, a massive chance that would have represented high up in the XG. Wasn't really any of that. It was relative. It was more territorial than sort of creating chance after chance after chance. One really bang on the door, and then there was a little period. Was a lull period where we were kind of getting into the game more even. We were working ourselves into the game, and then we took over and sort of controlled the game, and probably deserved to go in at half time 1-0 up. It's the goal, our goal, minute 35, comes from a throw in. Randall picks up the ball on the left hand side. Nice switch of play to Mark Sykes, and I will say, I don't think many people have noticed it. The Anis Mehmeti run from the left hand side all the way across the right hand side kind of draws Matt Clark out, which leaves the pocket of space for Scott Twine, and Sykes plays the ball vertically into Twine, and you kind of going, you look at it going, how the hell's he got that much space? And Mehmeti's run has cause of that. Twine, edge of the box, loads of space. Sanderson makes a last attempts to make a last ditch slide tackle. Gets nowhere near it, is way too late, and Scott Twine slots it away into the corner and gives us, I would say at that point, probably a deserved lead. It was a relatively even game. It wasn't a game where we created too much. That was probably the biggest chance of the game up until that point, and we took it and we saw it out. We saw it out pretty reasonably for the last 10 minutes. We didn't feel like we were under too much threat. Half time comes about. No changes. Once again, Derby probably started on top first sort of 5-10 minutes. Struber reacts to that and takes off Emil Reese for Sinclair Armstrong. Emil Reese a little bit ineffective, yeah, okay, but in terms of a pressing point of view, I thought it was reasonably good. And Sinclair Armstrong, with hindsight, didn't do as well as Emil Reese in holding the ball up so high up the pitch and getting ourselves up the pitch. Emil Reese did quite well, especially going to the right hand side and holding the ball and giving it and allowing balls to go into the box, winning a couple of set pieces, if I'm remembering rightly. So we lost that when Emil Reese went off, but we saw that against Charlton, didn't we, where it took off Emil Reese relatively early on and brought on Sinclair Armstrong at that point. Trying to influence the game. It didn't work. We didn't offer anything going forward, and in fact, it was a massive regression in terms of our pressing, our ability to get the ball forward and make it stick. There was really nothing there, and yeah, okay, Derby were pretty woeful going forward, and we weren't really tested defensively too much. Vitek had a couple of crosses to claim once the Derby substitutions were made, but apart from that, it wasn't really a hell of a lot for either side. But especially at that point, 1-0 up, you don't want to be conceding too much sort of territory and shots, and you don't want to be succumb to pressure. I didn't feel like Derby were um, and giving us any sort of massive question marks to answer. And yeah, it felt fairly comfortable. How wrong I was, because this is Bristol City, and literally with a click of the fingers, Carlton Morris equalises at 86. Uh, the goal for Derby comes. I can't remember exactly how it was. It was ball on the left hand side. I think Viner tries to stop the cross. I think comes in from Callum Elder. Ball goes in. Ross McCrory is fast asleep. He allows Joe Ward to get out on it. It's a good save from Vitek. He can't really do much else with it. He's kind of shifting left and then does well to parry it into Carlton Morris. Rob Dickey's on the line. Rob Dickey kind of goes under his feet. He takes a deflection on his right foot, goes under his feet. Rob Atkinson tries to make a last-ditch clearance. It's gone over the line by that point. So it doesn't hit the net, but it has gone over the line. And yeah, it looked like it went over the line, to be honest, as well. So yeah, Derby get an equaliser pretty much out of nothing. It didn't really feel like that it was coming. Again, as I mentioned, it didn't feel like there was a period of pressure, territory, real good possession for Derby. It didn't really feel like that. It felt like both sides, whenever they try to play out the back and pass around the it felt a bit stodgy, felt a bit stale, and it just felt a bit like, come on, bit of energy, bit of zip, bit of something, get up top the pitch with a bit of quality, and that was really lacking in that game. And yeah, we didn't really create a hell of a lot. There was a Scott Twine free kick which he won, and then it was in a similar position actually, and I got weird flashbacks to this, where at Pride Park last season, where he had a free kick and Zetterstrom saved that as well. That one was tipped over the bar. This one he saved, and it went out. He pushed it out towards the corner flag. He injured himself in the process, Zetterstrom, but it was a cracking free kick and it's a cracking save. Not many of the Championship players would have probably shot from that sort of range and the angle and stuff, but this is Scott Twine. He is one of the best free kick takers in the country, so you trust him with that. But yeah, didn't really create a hell of a lot after that, apart from that free kick. So a second game running where we probably tried the same thing over and over again second half, and you can say we sort of sat back and were defensive, and we're trying to see out the win. But ultimately, apart from one moment, Derby didn't really threaten us a lot. But you want to see a little bit more going forward. And you've got to bear in mind, I harped on about it in my match preview, the number of injuries Derby have got. They went for a Hail Mary at minute 70. They took off Danny Bath, Broncaine Jackson. David Oza went out for Hoodmire, which is a swap, but bring on a forward for a centre-back. The injuries they have, it just felt like the perfect time to take advantage of it, and a severely depleted squad. And I felt like Derby were trying to do the same thing for 90 minutes, which was hit Carlton Morris, get Andy Vyman, get Ibu Adams sort of running in behind and hope that something happens, and set pieces, which Gruber actually mentioned in his pre-match interview. So it just felt like it was a physical test for Rob Dickey, for Zach Viner, for Rob Atkinson, but I felt like we were comfortable for so long. It didn't really pose too much of a threat, Derby. And they didn't. I think there was a 60-minute period where they didn't have a shot from the 6 minute to the 66 minute, where Sky put up a stat. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, we were really comfortable, and then just to throw it away. So yeah, definitely feels like 2 points dropped, and just a really disappointing one. And second game running where we have tried to do the same thing over and over and over again in the second half. It's not working, and we just don't really look like we're going to try something different. And that was really frustrating. And yeah, that the changes didn't help us. The first change we made, we only made 3 changes. The Sinclair Armstrong and Maurice change just didn't work. And look, I don't want to hammer in on Sinclair Armstrong. I want to sort of single any player out, but the output, it's just not been really. He had one moment in that game where he won a free kick out of the pitch. That was it. That was it. And you want to see a little bit more from him output wise and stuff like that. So the changes didn't help. We got a bit unlucky. It did fall nicely for Carlton Morris, but still we didn't help ourselves. We were playing a dangerous game, and we, especially going forward, too one-dimensional, like we were against Charlton. And this time we were punished because we didn't grab a goal. in the first half against Charlton. We weren't punished. We could have lost that game. And yeah, we did concede one today. And honestly, it feels like a bit of a lesson. And it feels like don't don't do it again. Have a little period of possession, have a little period of maybe gaining a bit of territory. It just didn't feel like we had any of that street smartness, just missing today. And Derby, John Eustace, clever manager, Carlton Morris, good physical player. He will take advantage of stuff like that. So yeah, look, it's a 1-1 draw. Is it a fair result? It feels like a 0-0 would have probably been the fair result because both teams didn't really create a hell of a lot. We created more. They didn't create. They created little to nothing apart from the goal and that sort of moment. But yeah, a really disappointing way to end that game because it would have been, if that was 1-0, it would have been labelled as gritty, determination, defending, head it, kick it, clear it, good second half defensive performance, and a 1-0 away win. Always take that. But now they're sending 1-1, and against the Derby side, there's so many injuries. It just feels like there was a bit of an advantage that was not capitalised on, and the way we approached the second half, I didn't like. And yeah, we need to change that because that's 2 games in a row where we've tried different things in the second half, but we've done it for the whole of the second half, and it just hasn't worked. Like we tried to go direct for the whole of the second half against Charlton, it doesn't work. It didn't work, and who was it? Amari Bell, Lloyd Jones, head it, kick it, clear it. They'll do that all day, and Charlton got momentum to the end of the game. Could have won it. This we defended okay, yeah, we did, but we looked relatively comfortable. But we just didn't change anything in the forwards sort of direction when we transitioned and stuff like that, and it just didn't work. So yeah, 1-1. There we go. This is a team still sort of learning how to play Struber ball and stuff like that, and hopefully games aren't as boring as they have been the past two games in the league, and hopefully things get a little bit more entertaining. And hopefully that first game against Sheffield United wasn't just a flash in the pan. But yeah, a really disappointing way to end. Would have been a fantastic away day, and just see out a 1-0 game, a 1-0 win where you don't play at your best, but you get through it. But yeah, it's ended pretty poorly, and Bristol City are forced to settle for a point. That is now 2 draws in a row. That is now 5 points from the first 3 games. Where does it put us in the championship table? Keeps us 4th, I think. So yeah, disappointing way to end that game, but it is what it is, and we move on to Fulham in midweek in the EFL Cup, and yeah, that will be an interesting test up against the Premier League opposition. Anyway, that is my match review. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. What do you think of Bristol City's performance? Let me know in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.